there's guys who are 45, 50 who've never got their blood work done before.
What is the most common deficiency that you see with people that obviously don't do the blood work, dude?
Literally everyone, no matter where they're located, it's the most chronically deficient vitamin I've seen. Every single person's blood work is vitamin D. On the other side of that is going to be testosterone. I'm talking 25-year-old guys up to 45, low testosterone. When you have that low testosterone, bro, it impacts literally everything in your life. It's like the food, it's environmental factors, like the technology, especially for all my clients who are high producers, like they are the producer for the family. Yeah. So if they fucking die, their family's screwed, bro.
All right, guys, today's guest is a powerhouse of discipline and purpose, a successful entrepreneur, and he's built businesses, mentored men, and guys, not only that, but he is huge in bodybuilding. I'm excited for this one, guys. As you guys know, I've been part of my fitness journey for the past few months, so I got a lot of questions to ask you. Welcome, Carter Montgomery, to the show.
Thanks, my man. Appreciate you having me.
No, absolutely, brother. So let's start from the very beginning, dude. Like, tell us a little bit about your background. I know you're from San Diego. I mean, you're connected with Planet Mike, one of our good friends, man, mutual friends. Shout out to Mike. But tell us a little bit about yourself to the audience, brother.
Yeah, man. So I grew up actually in New Jersey. When I was 12, my mom moved us out to California. My dad passed away when I was 5. So it's just me, my mom, and my brother. Decided we needed to change, so she moved us to California. I was a very angry kid, trying to figure out life and, you know, growing up and things like that. And my mom was like, hey, dude, you need to figure out a constructive way to deal with your fucking anger.
Yeah.
So she dropped me off at the gym, said, figure the fuck out. Walked into a gym, humbled the shit out of me, but I fell in love. Yeah. Fell in love with the process, and that basically transitioned me into the fitness industry. Did my first show at 15, went pro at 21, accomplished a bunch of goals for myself, and just realized that wasn't that fulfilling for me. Like, I did everything I wanted to do, but I knew there was more to this. And I started realizing that people treated me differently. I had a lot of opportunities come my way simply because I had a level of discipline that people could visually see. And once I really realized that power I harnessed, I was like, dude, other men need this shit. They need to understand the power you can harness when you actually have an elite level physique and you channel that discipline, you have that work ethic that everyone can visually see. So I transitioned into the online space. My wife was actually doing it since 2017, so she was kind of the catalyst for me stepping into that world. We joined forces, launched our company, and the rest was history, man.
So power couple that starts a online fitness company, and you guys started that when?
In 2019.
So in 2019, your wife was doing it before 2017. How'd you guys meet?
Actually, at same place I met Mike, which is funny, at World's Gym in San Diego.
Love that.
That's where I met my wife. We were friends for a little bit, didn't talk for about 2 years. Then in 2019, went to the gym, saw her there randomly. We both like looked at each other and we're like, what the fuck? I kind of didn't forget about you, but like forgot this feeling we had.
Yeah.
Started hanging out, spending some time together, and then it blossomed into our relationship, and we've been inseparable ever since.
Dude, I love that. And then you're coming up at how many years of marriage right now?
4.
Okay. What would you say to entrepreneurs right now? I mean, dude, you guys are going from Fort Lauderdale to Miami now. And I ever since I moved to Miami here like 2 years ago, and now I'm in Puerto Rico, man, I always see a lot of young guys coming down here to Miami. And the number one advice I would tell them is just like, dude, focus on what you have to do to level up first. Because I was like, there's the women, there's the money, there's the nightlife and all that. So what would you tell an entrepreneur right now that's in their 20s, dude? They have everything in the world. I mean, we got like 6 guys right now in the back office doing their thing, dude. But they're all single guys.
Yeah.
They're all single guys. And I got to mentor them, dude. I got to be like, hey, find that one girl and just stick to her. What type of advice would you give somebody?
Yeah, so I call it the Miami vortex. And the vortex at Miami can fucking suck you in and completely destroy your life.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, you see a lot of guys come in, maybe they'll have a little bit of money and things like that, and then they get sucked into that vortex. And unfortunately, you're never going to build the life you actually want and create everything you actually want if you get sucked into that vortex. Yeah. Because the women, the drugs, the partying, all of that is just going to completely derail you from your vision. It clouds all of it. So the best thing you can do is double down on you and your personal development. And that's why I'm so passionate about the body, because I think that's the foundation of all of it. And focus on building the man that's going to attract the woman you actually want. Yeah. There's plenty of dimes around here, but it doesn't mean they're going to make a great wife. Doesn't mean they're going to be loyal. Doesn't mean they're going to be that ride or die for you. And I know I always want a woman who's going to love me inside of the mansion, but will also sit with me in a fucking under a bridge in a box. Like, I want that woman that will be loyal to me no matter what. And in order to attract that caliber of a woman, You have to have your shit together. You have to have the personal development. You have to have the work ethic. You have to build a vision. You have to be able to protect and provide. And if you can't do that piece, you're going to be very unfulfilled. And again, this whole lifestyle, the Miami vortex, will get old very quickly.
Dude, I love that. I love that. Traditional values, dude. You know, one of the main reasons I think right before the podcast, we were talking about California.
Yeah.
The reason why we moved, you know, it's just everything and it has to go do with the views of, you know, politicians out there and what they got going on, right? So with that being said, man, let's go ahead and take a deep dive into your fitness journey.
Yeah.
So what would you say it takes for a beginner right now that is listening? You know, we got a lot of young folks here, but we also got a lot of people that are old school millennials. I like to call myself old school millennial, that are looking to go ahead and start their journey. But then, you know, for me, for many years, for many decades, dude, I have been the type of guy that, you know, I'll say, all right, this is the year I'm going to go ahead and get a six pack. This is the year I'm going to go ahead and get shredded. And then I drop off after like quarter two.
Yeah.
Right? Like, what are some tips that you can go ahead and tell our audience that can help them in that journey to stay disciplined like you, dude?
Yeah. Consistency is key to literally everything in life, whether it's making money, whether it's building the body, whether it's having a successful marriage. It all comes down to consistency. Doing the boring shit day in and day out. And the reason I see a lot of people, they'll have a little bit of a run for, say, 8 weeks and they'll fall off, it's because they just try taking on too much too quickly. You don't need to do all the fancy shit. You don't need to like go to the extreme diet, the extreme training. You just need to pick something, implement it, and then be consistent with it for a few weeks. And then stack another piece on top of that. And then next you know, after 6 months, you're gonna have the entire picture built out. You'll have the consistency dialed in. And then the byproduct of that is the great physique.
Yeah.
That's really all it comes down to. But everyone struggles with fucking consistency, dude. The minute shit gets boring, people are like, I don't wanna do this anymore.
It's true.
But think about building the business.
Yep.
That shit's like boring, dude.
It is.
It's doing the same shit day in and day out and not seeing an immediate result, but knowing that if I do this every single day, it will get me to the goal.
Yeah.
Same thing happens with our bodies. Same thing happens with the marriage. Everything comes down to that. And so if we can master that in our physique and just master the consistency, again, it could be something as simple as just like going to the gym every morning at, say, hey, 6 a.m., I'm going to the gym no matter what. It could be a 30-minute workout. Does not matter. Master the fucking consistency. And then once you master consistency, then you can scale it. Crank that up to 60 minutes. Add the nutrition in. Add the supplements in. Like, we got to just build it brick by brick, but you can't try to like build a house with no fucking foundation.
Yeah.
You know?
No, absolutely. Do you think, you know, based on, you know, when we started the podcast, you initially said like, hey, you know, I was an angry kid.
Yeah.
My mom dropped me off. She said, figure it out. Something that my mom would tell me. But do you think that, you know, when people make it to your level, dude, where, you know, you're a champion, that it takes something inside of them based on past trauma or possibly like pain or you know, like my story, like I told you, man,
Yeah.
you know, being able to have a critical incident in your life where you're like, dude, this is it. I'm either gonna do it or I'm gonna do it, right?
Yep.
Do you think that really helps somebody project, or that's what a lot of winners and champions have in common?
They all do.
Really?
They all do. If you look at anyone who is at the top of their fucking game, whether it's business, bodybuilding, really anything, they've had some kind of adversity in their life that is their driving factor behind everything. Like, that pain ultimately drives their purpose. And so if you can learn how to channel that pain constructively and apply it to the right things, everything will continue to accelerate from there. I mean, you shared your story with me.
Yeah.
You used all of that pain, you put it into your business, and look what you've built. You've built a fucking empire, bro.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing for me. I was an angry fucking kid, dude. And I was a fucking shitty kid for a while, dude. I was making a lot of mistakes, but luckily my mom like fucking kind of put me in the right direction, said, here's a constructive way, figure it out, fell in love with the process. But I had pain throughout the entire journey.
Yeah.
But I knew that like doing the boring shit, training every day, dieting, like going through that pain was nothing compared to what I already experienced. So it was never actually hard for me. You know what I mean? So you have to have that level of pain to ultimately drive you in the right direction. But a lot of people either fucking sedate and try to mask their pain,
Right,
or they actually have never actually gone through any of the pain yet, dude.
Yeah.
And if you don't go through those things, you don't know how to harness it. Like, yeah, unfortunately, you're not going to be able to take things to the level you need to.
Dude, that makes so much sense. And the reason why I say that is because it's like nowadays, you know, I talk to other entrepreneurs and you know, the hardest thing that I always thought to myself, but I've also experienced in the past 5 years now that I've been a full-time entrepreneur since leaving law enforcement, is that, you know, hiring good people.
Yeah.
Hiring good people, dude, you know, and that could be for many things, right? Customer service, logistics, sales, marketing, whatever it is. But, you know, I see so many of the generation nowadays, especially in their younger 20s and their teenagers, they stay at a job for 3 months. and then they transition out. And I'm thinking like, why is that? Why is that? You know, like if you were to ask me my resume, dude, I've probably done 3 things.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Corporate sales, law enforcement, and full-time entrepreneurship. That's
Yep.
it.
Yep.
Like I didn't job hop or anything, but I think it's just because of instant gratification. Instant gratification, dude. What do you think about social media, dude? Do you think social media is good or bad for our generation right now, for the world?
I think it's a double-edged sword, right? Social media is extremely powerful. We're able to reach people at a level we've never been able to do again.
Yeah.
You can also learn at a level we've never been able to learn before. Like, coaching is the new college. You can learn anything within a couple of months if you just simply pay for it and find someone, right? Like, doesn't matter what it is, merchant services, fitness, does not matter. You can find someone you can learn at a very, very fast rate. So it's very powerful. Obviously, we both built a lot of great things through social media. But unfortunately, it has trained people for that instant gratification. You see women, you see money, you see cars, you see things like everybody thinks the grass is always greener. And that's why I still love that saying, because the grass isn't fucking greener.
Yeah.
You need to pick one thing, stay committed to it, and drive forward. So when it comes to social media, people just are consuming a bunch of bullshit. Like, if you're looking at a bunch of chicks half naked on the internet all day, like, dude, that's all that's going to be on your mind for the entire day. But if you use social media and find people who are inspiring you, they're teaching you things, motivating you, like whatever it is, it can be extremely powerful for you. And it can really help with a lot of personal development, a lot of things. You can find podcasts like this, which, again, all of this stuff allows you to continue to take your development to the next level. But it's like, what the fuck are you using it for?
Yeah.
You know?
No, absolutely, man. How do you think it is? And before you got into the online space, right, in 2019, did you have multiple mentors before you met your wife? Did you have like those key people that you can say back then that got you and got you through the journey with your coaches and everything? But you were like, man, if it wasn't for this person, I wouldn't be here.
Yeah, I've actually had a lot of mentors throughout my entire life. So I mentioned to you before the show, my dad passed away when I was younger. So spent my entire childhood. That's half the reason I was angry, because I was like looking for some kind of fucking guidance, dude. Like, I just wanted someone to kind of give me the roadmap, right? And when I got into bodybuilding, my mom was actually working with someone who she was competing as well, and she had a coach that worked at World's Gym. And he took me under his wing, and he taught me everything I needed to know about bodybuilding, all the pros, the cons, laid it all out for me, and just took me under his wing. And that's how I was able to develop through bodybuilding. When I went into personal training, that's what I did before the online space, is I had a boss, good friend of mine now, he's actually one of my groomsmen, Tommy Reynolds, shout out to you. He took me under his wing. Same thing, dude. He taught me business. He taught me how to build my clientele, how to train them effectively, like everything I needed to know to actually create some level of wealth and build something for myself. Now we stepped into the world I am now. Garrett J. White has been one of my fucking greatest mentors of all time. And if it wasn't for these people, dude, there'd be no way I'm in the position I am right now. I wouldn't be the man I am right now to have attracted my wife. Like, I'd be a fucking train wreck, bro. And this is why I always tell people, like, dude, pay for fucking coaches, pay for mentorship. Like, this is the world we live in now. Everybody thinks you need to get a fucking college degree. You don't need that shit. You need people that you're willing to invest in, so they invest in you, and it can take you to a level that, at a speed that completely defies logic. Like, things can move so fucking quick if you just double down and have the right people in your corner.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It's amazing what you have been able to do by the age of 29, bro.
Thank you.
You know,
Thank
like,
you.
to be honest, I thought initially we were the same age. I was just like, what, you're 29? I was like, damn. I was like, I gotta put everything at 10x, bro. I gotta go ahead and hurry up, right? No, but no, that's good, man. I'm inspired, dude. I'm inspired. But okay, so let's talk about this, because what actually I'm interested in to hear your perspective in is, dude, you were on the top of the game as a bodybuilder. Okay, you were a champion. Okay, at that stage of the game, why didn't you continue to do more shows? Why didn't you continue to go ahead and get sponsorships and probably do the traditional route of what bodybuilders do, instead of transitioning out to the online space?
Yeah, few reasons.
Yeah.
Reason number one, there's no money in it. I had paid sponsorships better than what almost anyone gets offered. I have all these things, but you're not going to create the level of wealth you need to create.
How much, and if you don't mind me asking, like, what on average, how much are bodybuilders making off of sponsorships, dude? I thought they would make bank.
No. So if you're someone like a Chris Bumstead, you have a massive audience, like those guys, they'll make like multiple six figures off their sponsorship, right? But again, there's a shelf life to all of that. But like even mine, dude, I mean, I was making like $1,500 a month for a sponsorship.
Wow. Okay.
And you know, there's a lot of red tape around that. You can't work with certain companies. It's still a job. You're working for them. So there's still a lot of stuff that goes on within that. So I knew I wouldn't have been able to make the level of wealth I needed to just by winning shows.
Right.
The other side of it as well is I knew I had a shelf life, just like MMA, just like pro football, just like any pro sports, you have a shelf life. There's always going to be someone younger and better who's going to come in and take that spot. So I wanted to leave on top.
Got it.
Right? And then the third part of it as well is just, dude, I accomplished everything I wanted to do. Like, I just kept winning shows, and I was just like, this is not fucking doing anything for me anymore.
You're a TP, man. You're a top producer.
Yeah, dude, it was just like, there's nothing to this shit anymore, bro. And that's when like the passion really shifted. And I was like, fuck, I want to help other people experience what I experienced. Because when you realize like it wasn't winning the shows that gave me everything I had, it's the discipline I developed through the fucking process that has given me everything I got. And I noticed that men fucking suck with discipline.
You're right.
Like they fucking suck, dude.
No,
like
100%,
it's the
dude.
craziest shit. And so, I mean, right now, like I focus, most of my clients are 40 plus entrepreneurs, business owners who, dude, they've done all this shit. They have the family, they have the cars, they have the money, they have all of this, but they feel completely unfulfilled. And it's because they've never mastered that level of discipline within themselves. Yeah. And once a man actually does that, that's when you're truly fulfilled. And that's when everything in your life will start getting taken to new levels because it directly affects every domain of your life. You know?
Oh man, you're speaking to me, man. I mean, like, you know, before the pod, we were talking about like, you know, I know how to make money, but I gotta dominate in fitness. And now you're saying this, I'm like, damn, I'm like this guy's avatar.
Yeah, but that's what I always tell these dudes. It's like, dude, you built some big shit.
Yeah.
But imagine how much bigger you could fucking build if you just mastered yourself first.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's sick. These dudes build shit like.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool.
It's awesome. But like, dude, there's a whole new level you can unlock when you master yourself.
Yeah.
You know?
Every aspect of life, right? Mindset, health, you know, you got to look good to perform good, dude. Finances, being a good person.
That's the fucking key one because we live in a world where, again, we talk about the grass is green and all that shit.
Yeah,
like,
it's not.
Loyalty isn't there anymore.
Yeah.
And that's why, like I say, especially over the past year, I feel like the rubber band snapped.
Yeah.
It was in the complete opposite direction. Again, no shame, but like with OnlyFans, that whole fucking world, again, everyone going out and partying and all these things. Like, dude, I knew that shit was gonna snap, and now it snapped. You see a lot more people talking about God and faith that they've never even spoken about that shit before. You're seeing loyalty come into play, the family values that we talked about. Like, all this stuff is coming back, and that's what I truly align with, bro. Like, that's what I fucking want, dude.
Dude, and it's so crazy. Emilio. And guys, obviously, if you've been listening to the Level Up Podcast, you guys know Emilio is the man behind the scenes. He goes ahead and makes the show happen. This is why we're top 3 in business in the United States. But Emilio, didn't I tell you that core values, traditional values was going to come back? Yes, sir. Dude, we were talking about doing like a podcast where we're like, dude, we should bring back like traditional values. Yeah, like, because you know how that red pill, blue pill stuff?
Yeah.
Dude, I was just like, what if we get like a husband and wife or get some and call it purple pill?
I love that, bro. That's gold.
Right,
That's gold.
Dude, it will go viral.
100%.
You know? Somebody's going to probably listen and be like, you're going to be like, hey, Garrett, got an idea for you, Paul. This dude, Paul said this. Listen, you know? But no, yeah, man, it will go viral. And people need to listen to that because more than ever, okay, my wife, dude, she wasn't on social media that heavy, but ever since, you know, obviously we got married, I show her off on like my stories and my posts because, you know, I talk about what I care about, dude. I have a big heart. So like, I always show people like, hey, I don't do this just for the money. I actually do it to help my family out. I do it to go ahead and like give them a life that they dreamed of, right? And that's what fulfills me, man, is to be able to help other people. Because, dude, I've already done everything that I wanted to do in life, dude. Like, 100%. You know, I've done the whole undercover thing, the cop thing. It was awesome. You know, like in the movies, I've made my money. I've gone through the journey. I've been poor. I've been rich. All that stuff. But at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, it's just true fulfillment.
Yep.
Just like you said, dude, true fulfillment. And especially here in Miami, dude, it's so hard. It's so hard because I feel like it's the new Los Angeles.
Oh,
like,
100%.
Oh, dude, it's insane. All you see is the material things, how much money people have, the women, all that jazz. And I feel it's just, it's all fake. It's soulless, dude.
And when you live that life, bro, you realize like you're still fucking going to bed alone or you're waking up alone. You can buy, like we just talked about it before, dude, you can buy the nice cars, you can have the things. That shit becomes like numb, dude.
Yeah.
Like every level has a new devil, right? Like,
Yes,
like
it
there's
does.
always a peak of a new pit. Like you can, or there's always a pit of a new peak. Like you can get to these levels and you realize like, oh fuck, like I'm completely unhappy right now.
Yeah.
And so it's like, that's why, again, like men in general, like, bro, we all want the same thing. We want a loyal fucking chick and we want to be able to protect and provide. That's what gives us purpose. We're very simple fucking creatures, dude. So once you really like harness that piece and do it, you're good. Like I always say, do I like everything we have? Yeah, but like if it wasn't for my wife, bro, like I'd probably be finding like a condom on the beach, like chilling. Like I don't need anything too crazy.
Yeah.
But my driving factor behind all of this is making sure that she has the fucking life she deserves and wants. I never want to tell my wife no. Anything she wants, I will make fucking happen. And that's my drive behind everything. So same thing when I have kids. I'm going to make sure they had everything that I never had.
Yeah.
Like if they want to play every sport, you're going to play every fucking sport. Whatever you want to do, I don't want to tell anyone to no because I didn't do what's required to create the level of wealth that they need to enjoy life.
I love that.
You
I
know?
love that, and it's about building generational wealth, man. You know, like
100%.
a lot of people, you know, especially when I was growing up, and I grew up in a poverty community, dude. I thought a lot of money in the bank account was $100, you know,
totally.
at that time, and you know, I would always hear, you know, there'd be some people that their family had built generational wealth, and you had everybody else, about 90% of the community, going, "Oh, well, look at that rich kid."
Yep.
And they would look down upon him. But now, as an adult, now that you know I'm about to be a father soon, it's one of those things like that's you actually want that.
Yeah.
You want to build generational wealth. You want to come from a rich family because that means that your dad or your mom did something right.
Yep.
And their parents did something right.
Yep.
And now you got thinkers.
Yep.
And that's what's supposed to happen. You're supposed to elevate
Exactly.
your generational wealth and your family and your name. And exact same mindset, dude.
Yeah. So let me ask you this, right? So Garrett tells me all the time, he says, when you have kids, it's going to light this fire inside of you to produce at a level that you've never tapped into before. And I felt that once I got married.
Yeah.
Once I got married, like literally, bro, the next day I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
And like just fucking went full speed. Now that you're having a kid, do you feel like something changed inside of you?
Dude, it's like my wife, I got to put a bubble around her.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's just like more like we're been about traditional values,
Yeah.
and she all has the traditional values of, okay, this is what we got married. We got married because we're best friends.
Mm-hmm.
But we also got married with the traditional values of I'm the man, I'm the provider.
Mm-hmm.
She is the woman, she is my peace. She would take care of the home. That's it. We're happy. That's our
Yeah.
dynamic, right?
Yeah.
So now that I know that she is pregnant, it is a game changer because now we're already thinking ahead. We're like, okay, we moved to Puerto Rico. All right, what if it's a boy? What if it's a girl? Okay, do we need to buy another home here? What are we going to do about medical? What are we going to do this? And then it's funny. We have these different conversations now. You know, we were having dinner yesterday, and she goes and she asked me, she's like, so what if like, you know, I have to go out of town. Would you be able to like babysit and run your business? I was like, babe, I'm going to have our boy or a little girl strapped to my chest doing
Yeah.
calls,
Yeah.
you know, or having meetings or doing the podcast. Like, yeah, that's just the way I am, man. I had a Yorkie, dude, for 16 years. Dude, I treated that Yorkie like it was my kid, bro. Like he was poor and rich with me.
Yep.
And the thing is, just like when I lost him, dude, I swear to you, it was one of the hardest things that's ever happened to me, dude. And I'm not an emotional guy.
Yeah.
You know, remember I've worked in Oakland, dude, so I've seen it all. But it's one of those things that it just hit me so hard because that dog was just surviving to be with me, dude.
Yeah.
It was literally surviving. It had
Well,
cancer.
and they're so fucking happy to see you.
Yeah.
Like she's a little wiener dog, so you had a Yorkie, had a wiener dog, bro. It is what it is.
Isn't that hilarious?
It is. It's fucking hilarious. Like you should have a pit bull. I'm like, no, dude, I'm good with my little fucking wiener dog. I love her.
I'm pretty sure Mike told you that.
Yeah.
Mike was like, it's so funny. You over there, you're a big guy. You have a little dog named Cookie.
Yeah.
But if you guys don't know who Mike is one of our good mutual friends from San Diego right now in Arizona. But yeah, man, no. It's very powerful. So yeah, now that I know she is having my child, yeah, it's a different dynamic.
Yeah.
It's a different dynamic. And she's like, it's gonna change you. It's gonna change you. And I'm like, we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. But I know it is.
Yeah.
I know it is. I just don't want to tell her that.
Yeah,
you know, I'm
totally.
just like, all right, babe, I'm going to keep it cool, you know?
Totally.
So, man, let's talk about your transition from now the fitness, from you growing up, dude, inspiring story. I love it. To now the online world. Mm-hmm. So, when you met your wife, you said she was already in the online game in 2017.
She did, yeah.
Okay, so what exactly was she offering in the online space?
Yeah, so she graduated college early because she had a passion for fitness. And she was sharing her fitness journey. The next thing you know, people are messaging her, asking for fitness tips, things like that. And then at that time, it's kind of like the rise of the online world. And so she started seeing other people like offering coaching and things like that. And she's like, fuck, like I can do this. Like,
of course.
What's the difference between us, right? Yeah. And so she was offering fitness coaching at that time. So it's basically exactly what we're doing now, different level. Things have evolved a lot. Yeah. That's exactly what her journey was, basically helping women take control of their fitness, build a level of discipline, and create an image that they're actually proud of, and like really channel that, harness that confidence. Because that's what women need, bro. If a woman's not confident, it fucking plays into almost every area of their life, you know?
No, absolutely, man. I mean, it ties into the relationship, finding the man that they want. Yep. You know, I always tell people, sometimes you got to build yourself up. You're not being honest with yourself. You got to know who you are.
Yeah,
right.
100%.
And I think that was the biggest difference between, you know, my previous exes and my wife. Dude, my wife was real.
Yeah,
I was real. Yeah. We were at a stage of the game where we were like, you know, we're in our mid-30s. We're like, this is what I want. Like off the bat, like our first like date, we were just like, okay, what is your intention with this? Mm-hmm. And we're like, we don't got time to waste. And okay, well, you know, I'm at this stage of the game. This is what I want. I want to get married, but I want it to be with the right person.
Yeah.
And it was just like, when you know, bro.
Well, that's how it was with my wife. When we like reconnected and stuff like that, we were both like under the impression I was with a woman 10 years.
Yeah.
And we broke up. And then so shortly after I met my wife, and it was one of those things where I met her, I was like, hey, I don't want to just have fun. Like, you are way too special of a person.
Yeah.
And you deserve more than just like a fuckboy.
Yeah.
Like, you deserve more than that, and I want to be that fucking person. And she's like, whoa, no one's ever said that to me.
That's different, bro.
Exactly. But I was like, that's my thing, bro. I was like, I've never been one of those guys who like just wants to go fuck around and stuff like that. Like, it's just, it gets fucking boring, bro. Yeah. Yeah. Like, to me, I want to have my best friend.
Yeah.
That's why I just want my fucking best friend, dude.
Yeah.
So, like, whether we're on a shack in the fucking islands or we're living in a beautiful home, like, it doesn't matter. I just want my fucking best friend, dude.
Yeah, you're a war buddy.
Exactly.
I love that. So she's starting with online fitness for women. Mm-hmm. And then in 2019, you guys meet, get married, and now you guys launch your own program. Mm-hmm. Talk to me how it was being a beginner and going into the online space, trying to figure it all out. Because as you guys know, I came into the online space in April of 2020. I didn't launch my first offer till about September 2020, and it was a slow climb up, dude. Like, you know, I was helping people at the time start small side hustles while they're working their 9-to-5s, and then I was trying to figure everything else out, dude. I didn't have social media for 8 years. Yeah, you know, I had zero following. Yeah, so for me it was tricky. Yeah. I'm not a selfie guy. You know? Yeah,
me either, bro.
Yeah,
Getting on camera talking, I was like,
So how was it? Was it like in a situation where like your wife was mentoring you? She was showing you like basically the blueprint of how to build it up?
Bro, if it wasn't for her, none of this shit would be here right now. So I was a personal trainer. Mm-hmm. As a personal trainer, and any of you personal trainers out here, you probably understand what I'm talking about. You look at online fitness coaches like they're a bunch of bullshit. You can't comprehend the world, right? And especially because you work so hard to build this in-person clientele, and I just had a completely warped vision of the online space.
Yeah.
And what ended up happening is I was doing like 10 sessions a day, 6 times a week. So I never saw her, and we just got married.
Right.
And I was like, fuck, like, I'm not trying to live a life where like I only see you for like an hour at night, a couple times a week. Like, dude, that's how marriages fucking fail. Like, that's how dudes get cheated on. Yeah. That's how shit falls apart, because like he's not present at all.
Yeah.
So really the driving factor behind all of it was me wanting to spend more time with her. And so it took her a while to like really show me what was possible, and realizing that, dude, you can help so many more people than just your 40 in-person clients. Like, you can reach people all around the world. Like, you can fucking impact this on a completely new level. And it was that like reframe around all of it that made me actually realize like, oh fuck, like this is actually what I want to do.
Yeah.
And when I actually started doing that, that's when everything really fell into place. So she laid the blueprint out for me. Like, she showed me what she did. She really put all the effort in the beginning to really get the ball rolling and getting it to the point where it needed to be.
Yeah.
I was just so fucking good at coaching. I'm super smart around fitness. I know my shit. I know what needs to get done. I just didn't have the vision. She had the vision. She put, like you were talking about, you're the fire starter. She's the fucking fire starter. I came in and I just fulfilled on it. And we just kept driving with that. And that's what blossomed into where we are now.
Smart.
Yeah.
Smart.
Yeah.
So essentially, she's like your operations. She's the you do the fulfillment.
I'm the operations. She's the visionary.
Yeah, the visionary.
Yeah.
I love that. And you need that dynamic in business.
100%.
You
Well,
do.
and it's also one of those things where it's like working with your wife is a whole nother fucking ball game.
Yeah.
And so if you don't really have these like clear defined roles, it can be very tough,
Yeah.
right? Like especially when it's business, like shit's not always easy,
Of
right?
course.
So it can be very difficult. So when we like really just kind of like defined our lanes, it made it a lot easier. It made the dynamic very like harmonious, and things were able to move a lot faster because we weren't really button heads, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
So-
And then how do you guys separate business with personal life, man? I mean, because that could get tricky itself. I mean, as you know, being an entrepreneur, you're entrepreneur 24/7.
Yeah.
That's the way it goes.
That was honestly, like still to this day, that's the hardest piece is trying to separate the two. We worked from home for years. It wasn't until a couple months ago we actually went and got an office space because I was
Nice.
like, dude, we need separation
Yeah, 100%.
between work and home.
Yes.
Because when we're at home, we just end up working. It's 9 o'clock at night. We're talking about work. And the next thing you know, it's like we're having conversations at 9:30 at night. It's like, dude, this is not the time to do it. So one, having clear defined roles was key, but then two, also making sure that like we separated it completely from our house. Like when your house is where you work, everything is intertangled, like it's all there. So when we started separating things, it made it a lot easier because now we can leave the office and like work's done. We don't bring work home, which was honestly probably the biggest and like most beneficial change for us was actually just doing that. And then the last piece is like traveling, bro. Like you have to have experiences. You need to actually step away from everything. Like as an entrepreneur, it's very hard to not work, especially when like it's just you in the beginning.
Of course.
It's very difficult to step away from that. So one thing we did early on, because we both always wanted to travel, was like, okay, we go travel and like, dude, the business can take a fucking back seat.
Yeah.
Like nothing's gonna fall apart in a fucking week.
Right.
Everyone's okay. We make sure they're taken care of, and we just take a couple of days to just like shut it all down and just focus on each other.
Good.
And so doing that every quarter has been an absolute game changer because it allows us to stay connected even in the midst of all the chaos.
Dude, I love that. I love that. So what are you guys working on right now?
Yeah, so right now, a few things. So we rebranded under Warrior Fit. So it's the fitness arm of Garrett's company, Wake Up Warrior, which has been incredible. Super grateful for that. Obviously, the guy's done awesome things over the past 14 years. So being able to be in that ecosystem has been incredible. We have our own podcast, too, that we launched. And so that's one of our like passion projects still. That's just really just me and her.
Yes.
We're moving down to Miami. So we're just doing like a lot of big life moves, and we're ultimately kind of creating the foundation we want. Like we knew kids are going to be here on the horizon too, so we want to have a place that we can call home. We got the office because we wanted to separate work. So it's less business stuff. It's more about ultimately creating the lifestyle that's going to allow us to take things to the next level. You know?
Absolutely. And are you thinking, I mean, you know Miami already, man.
Yeah.
So would you guys consider Miami your forever home?
No, not at all.
I had to
Not at all.
ask. I had to ask. I
Yeah,
was
it's
curious.
funny. We made it very clear. Miami won't be home forever.
Yeah.
We'll be here probably for like the next 10 years, honestly.
Yeah.
But this won't be our forever home, dude. It's cool right now because when you're building, when you're scaling, and you're in the networking world, of
course,
this is the place to be.
It's the hub.
This is the Dubai of America, bro.
Of course.
Like this is the place to be. So it's incredible. I love this. I mean, I was able to just drive down here and come see you.
That's it. Yeah.
It doesn't get much better than that. But eventually, when it gets to a point, dude, like I want quiet.
Yeah.
I want to be able to get away from people. And that's one of the things I actually do miss about California is like, dude, you can drive up to the mountains or go out to the desert and just kind of get away from everyone.
Dude.
You don't
tell me
have that
about
here.
it. Yeah. Tell me about it. And that's the thing. California's such a beautiful state.
Yeah.
It's just the way it's being ran.
Yeah,
That's
dude.
it. That's it. Run it right. I'll come back.
Yeah.
You know?
100%, bro. 100%.
I'll be happy to pay the taxes.
Yeah.
I'll come back.
That's why I always tell people, like, oh, did you leave because of taxes? I'm like, that was like one of the reasons, but that wasn't the only reason. Because if everything was amazing there, I'd be like, you pay for what you get. Whatever.
course.
But like, you come here, there's no state income tax. They're always building. They're always fixing roads. It's fucking clean. They don't let the homeless run a fucking muck everywhere. It's pretty much safe for the most part.
Yeah.
Like, how does that even happen when they don't have state income tax? So
That's what I'm saying, dude. They let the police, you know?
exactly.
Yeah.
And that's like one of the big things too, is like I said, my brother's a Tennessee State Trooper, and dude, I have a lot of pride for the blue, bro. Like emergency services, all that. It's always been a big passion of mine. My father was a cop as well before he passed away. And being in California and just watching the hate that everyone had
It's insane.
Well, and it's also one of those things where it's like, motherfucker, when you're in trouble, what do? You call 911, and what do you want? You want a cop to show up.
Yeah.
So, like, why is there so much disrespect? Why is there so much hate? So coming here, it's been so refreshing, bro, because, like, the cops are loved.
Dude, they're loved.
They're respected.
They have them on the billboards. They have the
Yes.
American flag.
They
Like,
actually
it's
want to
great.
work, bro.
Yeah.
You know, so it's a cool environment to be in. And I like I said, family values, morals, like that was really lacking in California. Obviously, Miami is a different world, but you still have a lot of that here. I mean, again, we're both here and we both have the same views. I meet a lot of people with that. Like, there's great people here, bro, and the state ultimately cultivates a lot of that. You know?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So let's go back to the very beginning of your transition with Warrior Fit.
Yeah.
How did you meet Garrett?
Yeah, funny story.
Yeah,
man.
dude. I got to ask.
So I got married, and we went on our honeymoon. We came back home, and something hit me. I always say it was God talking to me, where I was like, I have no idea what it looks like to be a good husband. I have no example, bro.
Yeah.
Like, no example. How the fuck do I be a good husband? So I started reading books. I'm like listening to podcasts, all this shit. And I come across Garrett and his wife's podcast called Date Your Wife Podcast.
Yeah.
And I started listening to it. I was like, oh, wow, these people are like real and raw. Like, this is what I'm looking for, right? Like, they just put everything out there. Listened to the podcast for a little bit, ended up following him. Well, right when I followed him, he just started getting into lifting weights and he wanted to do a show.
Yep.
Well, he was posting pictures on his story of him posing. And I just sent him a message. I was like, bro, you look great, but you pose like shit. Please don't step on stage like that. He gets hundreds of DMs a day, does not respond to one of them. Saw my message, said, God told me to fucking respond to you. Sent me a message saying, can you help me out? Got on a FaceTime, helped him out with his posing for a little bit, ended up taking over his prep, won his first show, and then the relationship basically just blossomed from there. So I always tell people you are one conversation away from your life changing forever.
Absolutely, dude.
So understand the power of actually networking.
Dude, networking is huge. I always preach that. Your network is your net worth.
100%.
You know how many times I have met someone through another friend or possibly a podcast or an interview or a convention or a mastermind.
Yep.
And then that one person, a couple months later, we are both helping a ton of people.
Exactly.
We're doing good business.
Yep.
And now it's a ripple effect.
100%.
It's a ripple effect, impacting lives. Dude, it's wonderful.
And that's why I say, like, we were talking about social media, is like, that's where social media can be so powerful because you can connect with people on a completely new level, right? But the other side of it as well is like the COVID times are fucking done.
Yeah.
Go meet people in person. Go put yourself in the environment. Like, we're back to where things should be. Yeah. And that's what I love about Miami too, is like, dude, there's masterminds, there's networking events, there's anything you want, you can find it here. And if you can't find it, you're just not looking hard enough.
Yeah. Yesterday we had a guest, Humberto Dominguez, and he actually during COVID, okay, he was big in the nightclub industry in Vegas. He ended up transitioning from Vegas to Miami because they were still allowing people to actually charter yachts during COVID. Yeah, so he came and started a business out of doing that, dude. It just made me think of him as soon as you started saying that. Yeah, because Miami, you're right. People are out. They're out and about. They want to be like social, dude.
Yep.
And that's just what it is. They have the run clubs. They have the gyms. They have everything. You got the beach.
Exactly.
You know, it's just what it is, dude. When I go back, whenever I go back to see my family in California, I'm just like, dude, it's dead. Like,
It is dead.
What's
Everyone
going
just
on?
kind of like hides away at their little spot.
Yeah.
You know, out here it's like everyone, like, if come to Miami at 6 a.m., everyone's out.
Oh, absolutely.
Everyone's out.
Absolutely.
It's crazy. I mean, you got people who are leaving the club at 6 a.m., so there's that.
Yeah,
but I'm talking about you got
yeah.
other people waking up, they're running, they're doing things like. It's an amazing city to just meet and network, and like that's what life is about, bro.
Yeah.
It's about meeting people and just sharing experiences, having conversations like this.
No, absolutely, dude. So for my viewers right now, I always ask my guests this, man. If you were to recommend 3 books that you have read before that help you change your life, dude, your mindset, your core values, and the way you live, what would you recommend?
Conversations with God, very powerful book. I grew up Catholic, but after 5th grade, I said, fuck all of that and completely disassociated from any religion, God, any conversation around all of that.
Wow.
And it wasn't really until like a year ago, especially like with Garrett and things like that, I just started realizing, I was like, wow, all these things that are in my life right now, there's got to be someone steering this ship, bro.
100%, dude.
I'm sure even for you, you've been in very like sticky situations you probably should not have made it out of, but for some reason you did.
Too many.
that to me is the power of God. So Conversations with God is a very powerful one. Garrett's book called The Warrior Method, incredible book, really breaks down the tactics of putting intention to the 4 domains of your life. So in your body, in your being, which is your relationship with, your balance, which is your relationship with your wife and your kids, your being, which is your relationship with God operating from a higher power, and then your business, your ability to provide and produce, right? That one is key too, because it also will give you tactical takeaways on how to actually make things happen, right? And then the last one I would say is The Way of a Superior Man. I think it's very cool for men to actually have an understanding of how we operate and how females operate, the differences, and how ultimately, if you operate the way the man actually should, your wife will always step into her feminine and allow you to actually lead. And that's what we all want. We want your wife to be able to relax, and that's why we talk about protecting and providing. If you can actually create a man that's able to do that, you will have a woman that will follow you wherever the fuck you go, and she will be your ride or die. So those are my top 3.
Dude, I love that. Reminds me of my wife every time she says, babe, wherever you go, I'm there.
Yes.
And that's just the way it is. That's the way it is. And she says that to her mom. She says that to her best friend. She's like, well, you know what? When we moved to Puerto Rico, I didn't make that decision till 2 days before Christmas, dude.
Oh, wow.
Last year.
Wow.
Hey, success, love, speed. I move fast, right, Emilio? Yep. Exactly. Yeah. So when hey, babe, we're going to Puerto Rico. I'm talking to tax lawyer attorney right now. Boom. Pay him the retainer fee. Make it happen. Boom, 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 boom. I talk to my real estate agent. Okay, cool. Let's go ahead and start setting up the sale of the house. Do this. And my mom, she's like, again? You're moving again?
Yeah.
And I was just
My
like,
mom says the same shit.
Yeah, you're moving again? And I was just like, well, yeah, man. I'm like, I gotta go do this. Gotta save money because, for kids and the family and you and, I could buy more property and do this, right? Generational wealth. And she's like, oh, okay, I get it. So when it comes down to it, I remember this conversation she had the day before we left to Puerto Rico with her mom. And she goes, and her mom, I'm listening to them talk, and her mom goes, I can't believe you're moving to Puerto Rico. You just moved to Miami. And she goes, and I love this about my wife. She goes, Mom, I don't care if Paul moves to Mars. I'm moving with my husband. And I was just like, yes. Yeah. It made me feel so good, dude.
That's what every man wants, bro.
Yeah.
That's what every man wants. And when you focus on yourself and you work on your personal development and you take your mindset, your body, you take everything to that level, that is the fucking byproduct right there.
Yeah.
Is that.
It's great, dude.
And I want to double down for your viewers when you said success, love, speed.
Yep.
That is fucking key.
Yep.
Because everything that we've accomplished in the short period of time that we've accomplished it is all because I did not hesitate to fucking move. Yeah. I did not hesitate to take a risk. Men are the fucking worst when it comes to this shit. They want to think about it. They want to wait for the fucking right time. They want to do all this shit. Pull the fucking trigger and go. And when you do that, that's how things move fast, bro. That's what ultimately creates the success. Take the risk, move. What's realistically the worst that happens? You just go back to where you were.
You're right.
That's it.
Yeah. Or you get a good lesson.
Or you get a good lesson. And both of those are very powerful. And both of those are powerful.
Because you're not going to do a mistake again after that,
Exactly.
And that's how you learn entrepreneurship from experience, guys. So with that being said, man, I want to take just before we end this, man, Warrior Fit. Let's talk a little bit more about that, man. I'm super interested. As you know, I'm in my health journey, dude. You know, Planet Mike's one of my boys. Yeah, that might be a thing where I might get it for me and him, and you might see us at your guys' program and then your guys' conferences. So, what exactly is Warrior Fit? Who's the ideal client for that?
Yeah, so I focus on men over 40, and my goal is to help them weaponize their body and harness that power so they can directly have that impact on the other domains of their life. Big portion of my clientele are all men who have achieved very big things. They're entrepreneurs or business owners, just high producers. And they've accomplished everything in life, bro. Again, they have the house, they have the kids, they have the money, they've checked all the boxes.
Yeah.
But they still wake up completely unfulfilled. They won't look at themselves in the fucking mirror. Yeah. They won't even have sex with their wife. Everything in their life takes a fucking hit because they haven't taken control of themselves. Right. And when you take control of yourself and you actually weaponize your body and you have optimal internal health, which will yield an optimal external image, everything in your fucking life will change. So that is my goal behind all of that, is simplifying the process, giving them the blueprint and letting them go full speed. Because one of the issues inside the fitness industry, everyone makes everything so fucking complicated and they talk shit that people can't even understand it. You talk to me, I get it, but we need to keep it simple. Simple is key here. So I simplify it for them. I give them the blueprint, make sure it works harmoniously with their lifestyle, and then we master that consistency with that. And then again, the byproduct is the great physique.
Dude, holy shit. I mean, you're preaching to the choir, dude. Like, I always tell this to everyone I know. Simplicity equals success.
It's everything, bro.
It's everything, dude.
Like, even in business, like, you need to simplify the business in order to scale it. If that shit's too complex, you can't fucking scale it.
Because people won't understand it.
Exactly.
And then a confused buyer won't buy it.
Exactly. And so when it comes to fitness, everybody wants to talk about like all this fancy shit and this internal optimization and blood work and this and that. It's like, yes, all of that stuff is very crucial. But nobody fucking cares, bro.
Yeah.
They just want to be given the answers, given the blueprint, tell me what to do, and like, I'm going to go do it. And if you can do that for them, simplify the process and just help them master the consistency, which is all mindset, dude, everything in their life just compounds from there.
So your program essentially and your mentorship actually helps men with the mindset portion. Does it also help them with like one-on-one training? Are you guys doing like in person? Are you guys also optimizing, like, let's say if somebody has low testosterone, are you helping them with like the labs and all that?
Yeah, so what we do is basically start of their initial conversation is blood work. We have to look at your internal health first and make sure you're optimal internally so we can drive the physical progress.
Yeah.
One, we need longevity. We got to make sure you're on this planet as long as possible, especially for all my clients are high producers. Like, they are the producer for the family.
Yeah.
So if they fucking die, their family's screwed, bro.
Yeah.
So like longevity is key here. So let's make sure you're healthy. Then also let's make sure you're optimal. Do your hormones need support, right? Is there any vitamin deficiencies? Like, what's going on? Let's make sure the foundation is actually built. And again, the crazy thing is there's guys who are 45, 50 who've never got their blood work done before. It's like, bro.
Carter, let me ask you a question real quick before you continue. What is the most common deficiency that you see with people that obviously don't do the blood work, dude?
Yeah.
Because I know so many people, like, now that I'm on this health kick right now for this year, and I'm just like, dude, my body's changing, and I'm like, this is cool. Like, I'm preaching, like, dude, blood work, gut test, allergenic test, like, do it, guys.
Yeah, most deficient, vitamin D. Literally everyone, no matter where they're located, it's the most chronically deficient vitamin I've seen. Every single person's blood work is vitamin D.
And what does that cause?
So vitamin D is a precursor to a lot of things, especially hormone function. Okay, and we all hear about like vitamin D, like get your sunlight, things like that.
Yep.
A lot of people are deficient in it, right? And if we're deficient in that, unfortunately, it is going to affect a lot of other processes within the body. So that's one of the most deficient things I see. Now, on the other side of that is going to be testosterone. I don't know if it's environmental factors or what, but I see 25-year-old guys up to 45, 55, which at that point it makes sense, but low testosterone. And when you have that low testosterone, bro, it impacts literally everything in your life for a man.
Dude, I really think it has to do with their food, bro.
Yeah,
it's just in the States, they're not like regulating it.
Yeah, dude.
Like I went to Europe and like my wife, she's a history nut, dude. So like, she's just like, babe, did you know that the bread here is actually better than the States because of X, Y, and Z? It doesn't have these chemicals and all this. Same thing with the perfume and the makeup and all that stuff. And I was like, oh, I didn't know that, babe. But yeah, and then I started talking to a friend, and I have a couple of employees that are quite a few employees that are in their 20s, and they started working with Mike, and a couple of the employees, they're like, hey, dude, I didn't know I was low on tea.
Yeah,
I was low on tea, and I was like, bro, you're super young.
You're under 30.
I was just like, how are you on lower tea? And then, as I go ahead and I research and do my due diligence a little bit more into this space, I find out that it's because the processed food.
Yep.
It's because of all the microplastic that we're consuming, dude, and it could come from like anything, right? Like people like drinking the coffee pods now, right? But you're what is it? You're heating up the plastic.
Heating up the plastic.
The plastic,
exactly.
and you're drinking it. You're consuming it every day.
Yep.
And Big Pharma, dude. That's a big topic since last year, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's getting exposed, dude.
100%.
You know?
That's what I'm saying. It's like the food, it's environmental factors. Like, I mean, it could be even like the technology, just like, again, even like the perfumes, things like that. Like, there's so many things that are impacting this because I'm not even lying you. Like, even females, bro, like under 25 and their testosterone levels are fucking dog shit. Like, that's just not fucking normal at all.
Yeah.
And it's only gotten worse.
Yeah.
Which thankfully, like, we have access to things now like TRT and just peptides. Like, there's a lot of things we can do to obviously fix that, but still got to look at the whole picture and say, what is the root cause that's causing all these people to be so fucking deficient?
Right.
So
yeah, that's
mind-boggling.
It's crazy to me. I mean, this is the rabbit hole, dude.
Oh, it's the fucking rabbit hole.
Yeah, it's
sure.
the rabbit hole. There's so many theories that could go behind this, man. Okay, so you help them optimize, you help them with mindset, and then what else?
Yeah, so Start is going to be an initial consultation in terms of internal health. Make sure we're optimizing that first, making sure they're healthy, and then again, making sure they're actually optimal hormones, thyroids, everything there, right? That's got to be the key. Then we move into nutrition, okay? When it comes to nutrition, a lot of people are just like, hey, here's your macros, go do your thing. It doesn't really work for everyone, especially like entrepreneurs, bro. They're fucking busy people. They need the blueprint. So we got to make sure we're creating a nutrition plan that works harmoniously with their lifestyle. Do they eat dinner with the family every night? Do they go on date night 2 to 3 times a week? Do they have a lot of networking events that they go to? We have to map all this out and give them a solution to every obstacle that they're going to face. And in this way, it's fucking bulletproof. If they don't have that, they will fall off the map, and they don't have the time and energy to actually think about how to map their day out, right? So I teach them that piece, but also give them the fucking roadmap, dude. Because when you have the roadmap, it's so much easier to actually work off of, right? Then obviously we dial in training, cardio as needed, supplementation as needed, which we base off of your blood work. And then from there, accountability is a key piece, right? I always say, men, grab your dick and balls. You're a fucking man. Hold yourself accountable. But you still need someone there to actually like help make sure everything's moving in the right direction. If it's not, here's what we need to adjust. And just making sure we have that hands-on approach to make sure we're making the most of every single week and getting you towards the goal as efficiently as possible.
That makes sense, dude. And that makes, I love your breakdown. I could understand it. I always say this, guys. Yeah, I built quite a few companies, employed quite a few people, but at the end of the day, I'm a simple guy. I'm not a nutritionist. I'm not a fitness guru. That's why I hire the best of the best, right? So with that being said, man, where can people find you, dude? Where can they find you? You and your wife, for the women that are watching, obviously. And yeah, dude, because I'm even interested. I'm going to start looking into, what you're offering, how we can work together and all that jazz.
Yeah, absolutely. So Instagram, best place to find us. Mine is at the Carter Montgomery, and my wife is Alyssa Rose Montgomery. Both on Instagram. You'll find us there. Everything we basically push through Instagram. So that's the place to find us.
I love that. And to go ahead and end the podcast, I always ask my guests, this is the level of the podcast. We're here about self-help, dude. We're here about mindset. I always think that if you don't have everything squared away in your personal life, how are you supposed to build a successful business, right? So with that being said, some words of motivation for the audience, dude, just based on you, what you know, your life experience, dude, and what you do best, dude, help people.
Yeah. Number one thing, which I already touched on a little bit, is going to be consistency. When you master that consistency, you can apply it to your marriage, you can apply it to your business, you can apply it to anywhere in your life, and everything will move in the right direction. That consistency comes with a work ethic, right? Because it's doing the boring shit day in and day out. So don't think you need to do anything super complex. Don't think you need to like have some fancy program, do all these things. Pick one thing, implement it for 30 days, stay consistent with that, and then stack another piece on top of that. Build brick by brick, and I promise you within 6 months, you're gonna have a completely new mindset, a completely new body, and you'll be walking around a completely new man.
I love that. I love that. Guys, and that is Carter Montgomery. I'm Paul Alex. This is the Level Up Podcast. Guys, we are currently ranked top 3 in business podcasts in the United States. Make sure to leave a 5-star review on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Guys, share this with somebody you love. Share this with a friend. Share this with anyone that you care about that needs to get their health in check. All right? Once again, guys, I'll catch you on the next one.